Hey guys, it's Alan,
Attention, a new important message has arrived.
and this lady just interrupted me. Anyway, uh, just wanted to do another video. First, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I'm sorry I didn't get up a Christmas video. I was on my way to my parents' house for Christmas there, and had a pretty good time. And 4 days I was at home, so I took a 5-day home time. So that was pretty good. Got to thinking about some things, especially today and last night, and I wanted to throw out a list of things that you need to have in cold weather. The reason I say that is because last night the temperature when I went to bed was like 11 degrees. The temperature when I woke up this morning was 3 degrees. That's pretty cold. It was time to take the shorts off and put on some longer pants, because I normally wear shorts everywhere I go all the time. It starts getting 10 degrees and below. It's kind of too cold to be wearing shorts, so I had to take them off. But I guess the thing that I wanted to talk about was what you really need out here as a truck driver in cold weather. I mean, if something happens to your truck and you're out somewhere on the side of the road and you break down and you can't crank your truck, so you can't idle it to get heat. Say your APU unit is out, so you can't get heat that way, and it's 3 degrees. What are you going to do? That's a problem. I guess the first thing you need to make sure you have is some sort of instrument to create fire, whether it's matches, and I've always got something for fire. That bad boy right there will light up anything. That's a 2,000 degree lighter. That's I use for my cigars. But if you don't have something to light a fire with, then you literally could freeze to death. Other things that you probably will need out here is water. Make sure you got plenty of water. Keep a gallon jug full of water. Even if you don't ever touch it, that water's not going bad as long as it's sealed up. Just keep a gallon jug just in case. You're gonna need some food on your truck. Stuff to make sandwiches with. Canned soup, canned Chef Boyardee, raviolis, spaghetti, whatever. Some protein of some sort. You got to have that kind of food to sustain you through cold weather. And I'm not talking about being out here for a week and 10 degree weather. What I'm talking about is if you've got to survive until help gets to you. And sometimes, let's face it, help can get to you pretty slow out here. You call into dispatch or send a Qualcomm into dispatch, and they send out TA or Petro or whoever's coming to help you. It sometimes could take 3-4 hours before they ever get there. So you got to be able to survive. If your truck's not running and you can't idle it to get heat, and your APU unit is down and you can't use it to get heat, and it's 3 degrees outside, you're going to get cold really fast. The inside of the truck is going to get cold really fast. I was listening to Road Dog Radio. I listen to that sometimes, not all the time, but I do sometimes on Sirius XM. And they were talking about a driver who basically his brakes froze up. Minus 27 degrees, his brakes froze up. He ended up falling asleep, which is the worst thing you could do, is fall asleep. But he ended up falling asleep for 3 hours, woke up, temperature on the inside of his truck was 7 degrees. Couldn't feel his feet, couldn't feel his hands, couldn't feel his nose. and he said he literally felt like he was going to die. And he didn't have anything to stay warm with. I mean, a little blanket that you use when you're APU unit or when you're idling your truck and there's heat in the truck, little blanket that you use, that's not going to keep you warm. Basically, you're going to need things like Sub-Zero blankets. A Sub-Zero blanket is something that you really could use if you get out here and get in a situation where you stand a chance of getting frostbite or whatever. Sub-Zero blanket will keep you warm. Thermal underwear, extra layers of clothing, jackets, warm hats. This hat, I love my hat, but it's not a warm hat. You know, it holds heat from this big head of mine, but it doesn't hold heat the way it should, so it's really not that good for being in the winter. Gloves, extra socks, boots, especially boots, could help keep your feet warm. They also, most of them now are non-slip. If I'd had my boots on the other day when I busted my head at that receiver, I wouldn't have slipped on that ice and busted my head. So, those are just some things that I was thinking about, especially the way to start a fire. You don't want to have to get out here and rub two sticks together for a while to try to start a fire, because it can be done, but it's not easy. And your fingers could get frostbit pretty quick if you had to do that. So, if you're out here in a truck and you get stuck beside the road, find some wood, find something, whatever's in the truck to start a fire. Start it. Do what you got to do to survive. You have to be the one to survive out here. This driver unhooked from his load from his trailer because the trailer brakes were froze up. He unhooked from his trailer, drove to safety because he thought he was going to die, and his company fired him for abandoning a load after he had already called them and told them what he was doing, and they were more concerned about his load than they were him. And he took it upon himself to take off and go find some warm shelter until somebody could come and fix his trailer. Then he went back out and picked it up and delivered his load, and they still fired him. I always do a pre-trip, especially in the wintertime. Do a pre-trip. Make sure your tires are good. Make sure your oil is good. Make sure your coolant level is good. Make sure your heat works. This driver that I'm talking about that was on this radio program apparently didn't do a pre-trip on his heat because his heat was out. He couldn't idle. He also was almost out of fuel. So even if he did idle, he could have possibly ran out of fuel. You got to make sure you got plenty of fuel. Oh, and one thing about fuel, I learned this a long time ago, but I was reminded of it last night when my APU unit started blowing cold air instead of hot air. If it gets below 20 degrees and your fuel lasts somewhere in the south in the wintertime, they don't have the same type of fuel in the south. They don't have the same type of fuel in the south that they do in the north. Up here, and by the way, I'm in Pennsylvania. Sorry for all the movement, my phone fell. But up here, the fuel, I'm probably getting this wrong, and somebody can tell me down in the comments if I am, but in the north, the fuel has the anti-gel in it, I think. But I still, when I fueled up last, I was in South Carolina, and 60 degrees on Christmas Day. The day after Christmas, it was 65, I think, and I didn't even think about it. I just fueled the truck, came on and got my load, and I went and got my load and brought it to Pennsylvania. And last night, the fuel in my fuel tanks started gelling. And I know it happened because my APU unit was about to shut off, and the heater, the bunk heater, actually started blowing cold air. And this happened one time before, where it started blowing cold air, and they told me to put more fuel in it. And basically, you put warmer fuel on top of that cold fuel, and I guess it ungels it or whatever. But I went and just got some diesel anti-gel, put it in both tanks, and I also put some in the reefer unit so that it wouldn't gel up. But you gotta have that. Put that on your truck. The anti-gel, put it on your truck. You gotta have it, especially if it gets below 20 degrees, because you don't want to break down out here where your truck won't even crank and your APU unit won't work. And it'll happen if that fuel gels up. You've had a bad day, especially if it's 3 degrees like it was last night with me. Anyway, that's it. If you got any suggestions of things that you possibly could put on the truck, I don't know everything. So if you got suggestions, comments, leave them down in the comment section below. Also, I want to let you know that the channel, I'm about to start doing different things with videos, which I think is going to be pretty cool. I had a friend tell me that I need to do other things than just sitting in this driver's seat when I do a video. So I think I'm going to do some outside stuff as soon as I can get it done where it's not 3 degrees. I'm not going out there in 3-degree weather for y'all. I love my subscribers, but no, it's not going to happen. But yeah, I'm going to start doing some stuff, start actually showing you the life of a truck driver, the kind of life that we live. So that's going to start coming up next week after the first of the year, and probably will be doing it in my next video. So that's coming up. That's going to be pretty cool, I think. And yeah, if you have any comments, suggestions, anything like that, leave them down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any suggestions as far as what to keep on your truck, other than what I've said. I know some people is going to have things that they do that's going to be helpful for other people as well. So leave it down in the comments. Like and subscribe, please. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And that's it. See you guys soon. New video coming out real soon. Later, guys.